Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's better on draft.
Welcome, everybody, to the Craft Beer News segment. It is December 22nd, 2023, as we reach near the end of the year. I am so thankful for you joining us. Of course, you can watch us live Friday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. The news right to follow. With that in mind, let's go over and see what everybody is drinking, starting with Wendy. Wendy, what do you have?
I am still drinking a Mad Elf from Trogs and a Tropicalia from Creature Comforts.
And Rob, what do you got?
I did it. I have day 22.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, it's Jungle Raja. It's brewed by the Brew Kettle for Jungle Gyms. It was as excited to be out today as I am to have it.
Dan?
Working on that midnight run from 12 West, and if somehow I get through it, got a Malpace from La Cumbre.
Perfect. Each and every week when we go over the craft beer news, we talk about some news that we want to discuss a little bit. We don't go over necessarily all of the biggest and baddest news of craft beer, just the stuff we think you should know about. And I want to hear, Dan, what do you think people should know about today?
You must have looked at my link to see what I'm talking about. So here we go. Snoop Dogg bursts into the cannabis beverages with Death Row Drink. Had to talk about this one, number one, because here we go with the celebrity of Snoop Dogg of all people. He seems to have his hands in everything from the NHL to, cannabis companies to just about everything you can think of. Kind of shocking. What's that?
Who'd have thought?
Dude, Snoop, I know, of all people, back going from on trial for murder to like one of the most popular people in America, if not the world. Kind of surprised he went with the Death Row name. You know, I'm probably Suge Knight whenever he gets out of prison. Assuming that's where he is, he'll probably be mad about that. But really had to talk about this because of the names of these. There's 4 flavors out there. We got the blood orange, which is called Get Up. Blue Raz, the Shiznit is what that one's called. Cherry Limeade, the Lottie Dottie. And Peaches and Honeys, which is the Pump Pump. So, Wendy, we know you like to try everything that celebrities put out. We know you're the Kid Rock beer fan, if I remember. Just teasing you, but you always told us you'll try any of these. Do you think this is going to be the new trend now with celebrities getting into cannabis? You know, we've seen them get into beer. During the previous episode, one of you mentioned, I think it was you, Ken, mentioned Three Floyds. They've made beers with a million different metal bands. Is this the new thing getting into the cannabis drink industry? Because this is going to be offered in both CBD only and a CBD THC combo. So is that where we're going? And is that the new trend? Ken, I'll start with you. You seem to know a lot about these type of things, probably more than Rob. I don't know if you do, but Ken seems to know a lot about this field more than most of us, I think. That's not a dig, no, but more knowledge. Go ahead.
I mean, for someone who doesn't smoke at all, I do dabble into the THCs a little bit, typically with drinks and gummies. This is, I think, the obvious next realm. There's going to be a lot of these organizations, not necessarily in the drink area, teaming up with celebrities to get specific deals to promote their THC brand or their gummy brand or their weed strain. And Snoop Dogg's probably one of the biggest gets you can find, simply because when everyone thinks about Snoop Dogg, obviously they think about weed itself. It kind of goes hand in hand with the accoutrement that is Snoop Loop, undefeated at WrestleMania Snoop Dogg. So for me, these are definitely low THC and low CBD drinks. These don't reach the levels that you get with most, even like small time gummies that you get. So I personally don't know if I would be too crazy to spend. There's one that's got 3 milligrams of THC and 5 milligrams of CBD for 12-ounce can for $6 a can. But I guess that kind of harkens to our ABV to dollar theory of beer that we've talked about before. Is there a THC milligram to dollar.
Well, that's you
theory
bring up a
that
good
people-
point, because I don't know about that at all. So what's an average drink? Two Roots, I believe, was into this, but I don't ever remember talking to them about that as far as the THC version. What's an average milligram of THC in one of these beverages?
I'm looking it up right now if you want to stretch a little bit.
So when Snoop said he was going to stop smoking, is this what he meant? He was moving to this instead?
Well, there is a line in here, and this is from him. As I take the next step forward in my smoking evolution, this is where he's going. Yeah. So perfect transition, apparently. So he's going from smoking to just drinking beverages.
Okay.
Now,
good for him.
We do know there are alcohol variants with THC in them. Ken, is that something you've ever tried?
Yes. The plenty of times that I've been in Seattle, I would definitely get some. There was a wit beer that had THC in it that I would get every time that I was kind of in there to kind of enjoy, especially if I wasn't planning on like drinking that night. Like I just wanted something to maybe help me go to sleep. For me, I think so. The giving up smoke thing, I don't think he's actually giving up smoking. It was a ad campaign for like a outdoor fire pit that didn't smoke, so it didn't like smoke like a fire pit would, and like you get that like smoke into you. So yeah, right. he's not actually
awesome
giving up. He's not giving up smoking. It was not necessarily a scam, but like a play on words.
Yeah.
He's not giving up
the mislead for the
itself.
Headlines in this short, clickbait and all.
Yeah, for sure. So for this, I mean, at $5 a drink, sure, you'll probably get enough people that will want to have it, try it, and drink it. But if it's going to taste like bad and you're not going to get a decent high out of it, like I don't know. Like I always feel like the best part of some of these RTDs and seltzers and stuff is the fact that you're getting at least a little buzz from it. You're not, drinking these really poor flavors just to.
Are you saying peaches and homies or peaches and honeys is not your style of drink? Isn't it?
I wouldn't lean
what I would try.
The shiznit.
Yeah.
No, the peaches and homies or honeys or whatever.
Peaches and honeys. The pump.
Yeah. So the pump is a 25 milligram CBD at $5 a can. You can get like a tin of 20. 25 milligram or not 25, 10 milligram gummies for like $20.
Yeah, that's the same here.
The amount of THC you're getting, you're paying more for the beverage, obviously, than the THC. And at that point, then I want the beverage to meet some kind of standard. So
like a white non-alcoholic seltzer.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get away with that, but they will, and I know that. The cherry limeade obviously interests me just because it kind of fits within the flavor profile that I'm looking for. But like blue raz, aka the shiznit, not necessarily for me. Who knows? This might be into the realm of people are maybe making some type of mocktails with THC. If we get into the world of like THC cocktails. This might roll into that world, but it doesn't really do it for me. I'm not a big fan of Snoop Dogg. Don't hate him. Don't care too much. And I probably just wouldn't buy this because there's nothing in it that really I can't get in other variations, whether it's other types of products, edibles, or vape or anything like that.
So aka Ken will buy it because he can't get high unless he drinks like 5 of them. What about you, Rob?
Okay, so I've tried pot a few times, and let's just say I've never enjoyed it. It's always made me super paranoid and just not feel great. So I'm not that excited for it. And and then the Snoop Dogg tie-in, I would share the picture with my friends. of all these beers because they would appreciate the names. But that's about, or these aren't beers, but these beverages. That's about as far as it would go. As to mixers, yeah, they're just kind of seltzers. I would expect at that point, just seltzers with THC and CBD.
I was wondering, are they carbonated? I don't think I saw in here if they are, but that's interesting. I wonder what they actually. I would assume they are seltzers, so we'll kind of assume that. I'm going to try and take a look. And looking at the cans, I think they might be. But what about you, Wendy? Is this something? I know you like to try a lot of gimmick things. You talk about it all the time. Is this something you would try?
I love gimmicks. I would
not making fun of you. You just talk about it all the time. So.
No, I totally will own that I love the gimmick stuff. I would definitely try the peach and honeys just because I find that interesting. So Snoop Dogg also has the gin and juice cocktails.
That's right. The RTD.
I've never tried, but it makes sense. You asked earlier about, do you think this is the next thing that celebrities are going to be endorsing this? I think it's very celebrity related. Like from the very beginning, Snoop has been about smoking. And so I think that it makes sense for him to do something like that. It wouldn't make sense for like Taylor Swift to do it. So,
everyone would buy it if she did. Because
if they did, they would sell out and you'd never be able to get them. And it would be like $50 for a can. But
here's the one thing, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's important for people to understand because weed is still federally illegal. It is still a Schedule I drug. Therefore, wherever he sells this, which is my guess, California, is going to be the only state that's going to be able to sell it. Nobody else, or Texas, it looks, oh no, it can't be Texas.
Yeah, he's partnering with the Texas.
Yeah, he's partnering with a Texas company, but it's got to be made somewhere else. So wherever he takes the actual drink, that's the only state you're going to be able to get it. So for a lot of us, like here in Michigan or now Ohio, Illinois, etc., like we're probably not going to be able to try it because it's only going to be in one state. And that's kind of where I don't know if you're going to get a lot of celebrities necessarily getting into the weed business until we remove the Schedule I or legalize marijuana as a federal legal product. Because you're just limited to one state.
So it has to be, so I understand correctly, wherever you have basically the THC put in, because I know they have to ship it off to do that. Wherever that's done is where you can sell it. Is that
correct? Yes. Because the weed can't cross state lines. That's a federal.
Right. I remember Two Roots talking about. Yeah, I remember Two Roots telling us they had to ship off the drinks to have it done. So wherever you're sending it to, it has to be sold there.
Yeah, so like for Two Roots, wherever they sell it, the weed is inputted in that state.
Into the drink. Okay.
Yeah, so Two Roots in Michigan was always just NA beer, whereas Two Roots in Colorado was NA and THC and CBD and stuff. But if you go to, I don't even believe we have any type of drink producer here in Michigan at this time. And I say at this time just because I know Blake's and the team behind the Pleasantries, I believe, is the Blake's THC weed organization. They're working on a THC seltzer for production, but I don't think it's for sale quite yet in Michigan.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I also am not I can't do weed because I have stuff to do. And if I smoke, I don't want to do anything. So I got too much shit to do. I can't smoke it. So, but I know that there's a lot of younger people who are coming up that are choosing to smoke rather than drink. So I wonder if this will pick up because of that.
I feel like it will, especially as more states legalize this. You know, God, I hate even talking about people I know in personal life because I'm not going to name names, obviously. And Ken, you and I knew someone who was like this. But there are people who are into doing this. They smoke it or do edibles all day, every day. They work while they're doing that, everything. I don't understand how. It's one of the last things I want to do. I just don't like the way it makes me feel. But there are people just function daily. You've always talked about functional alcoholics. There are functional people that are high 24/7. It kind of blows my mind.
Well, I have friends that when they smoke, it energizes them and they want to get shit done. But I am not that person. Not at all. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I haven't tried a whole bunch of different strands, but I'm assuming that it doesn't really matter, that that's the way my body reacts to it. So I just had to be like, nope, I'm an adult now and I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I feel it
just makes me pace.
We do have to look at marijuana as almost like a pharmaceutical industry. There are strains that energize you, strains that make you tired, strains that make you focus, strains that make you the ebbs and flows of each strain. They've been doing so much research and energy into marijuana these days that you can cultivate what you want through the marijuana, where you can wake up and be like, oh, I got a lot of shit to do today. I'm going to smoke this blunt that has this specific strain because I know it's going to help me focus and get shit done today. Whereas there's another one where my, ex just broke up with me and I'm sad and I need something to kind of like mellow me out so I'm not too overly depressed. So that's the way we need to look at marijuana as an industry as a whole. Jason Flanders on X/Twitter says going to be the next Four Loko. Now there's no caffeine allowed in RTD cocktails. I don't think he's wrong. I think it will be, as one of you said, this next generation's Four Loko. It's going to be what the kids want. The price is not too cost prohibitive for a lot of kids to get into marijuana, where you don't necessarily need to break the bank to get a blunt to get high for a night. It's probably cheaper to get high for a night than going to a bar and having a few drinks.
Oh yeah.
So I do foresee that being this generation's Four Loko, this generation's group. And that's the important thing, as he says, the government has to figure out how to double tax it. The government just needs to figure out how to tax it, not codify it, but
they got to get it off the schedule.
Regulate it, how to properly regulate it, tax it. And
you talk about the federal government, that's easy for them to do. They just, the last three presidents said they were going to do it and just haven't. So
yeah, there's
that's how you want.
I feel like the only way, I'm going to be honest, the only way I think you might get it done is if you could pull off a constitutional amendment and get 33 states.
It's the only way you're getting a constitutional.
It's probably coming. So to get off the schedule, you have to be able to come up with dosing recommendations and have to know how it affects people and things. So, and because it's been on the schedule, it's really hard to do that research, and there was no money in it. But suddenly, there is money in figuring that out and getting it off the schedule. So there are, I'm sure, groups out there doing the needed research in order to find the safe levels and get it off the schedule.
Well, as we're still doing this here in Ypsilanti, Michigan, like we're looking to decriminalize mushrooms next. Like there is a lot of purposeful, honest research going into things like mushrooms, ayahuasca, these drugs that we have, federal issues with just because they're quote unquote illegal. When in reality, like we look at one of the big pushes for the marijuana regulation and, or deregulation of marijuana in a lot of states is all the things that it's been doing for veterans and the ability to address their pain, to address their mental levels, their PTSD. Like these things are helping so much that when you get that backing of veteran organizations, you get a lot of people going, and you're starting to see that with the ayahuasca, with the mushrooms, where if you can get, as Rob said, and Rob brings up a great point, a proper study, proper dosage, proper, platform.
We got all these things with THC oil, and that's even less known than these weird strains of cannabis out there that they come in all sorts of different strengths, and no way to measure that strength. So yeah, all that stuff is missing. That's part of why I can't get off.
Chances are the FDA is already doing those types of studies, but it takes them like 10 to 15 years to get anything approved.
Yeah.
Anything.
So it's funny you mentioned the mushrooms. You and I know another person. They're finding a lot, especially with PTSD, other issues that have come up, mental issues, especially for veterans, that it is helping a lot. It's getting them off of things. Ketamine's always been a popular treatment for veterans going through that type of thing. These mushrooms, again, we're at something natural, kind of like marijuana, that is really helping these individuals. So hopefully that's going to be the next thing. There are already countries where it is. For example, the Netherlands, for example, you can get mushrooms just like you can marijuana. So hopefully that is something that's going to come down the pike eventually. We know how fast the government works, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think with that, it's going to be let's call it what it is, the more progressive cities that are open to legalizing or decriminalizing these, like here in Michigan, Ann Arbor and Ferndale. Like those are two very liberal, progressive areas. So those are going to be the places that kind of start the trend. Going back to the original topic of Snoop Dogg getting THC and alcohol. Bill Carney says that he did a little research and he says Happy, Highly Casual, and Jones Soda have THC beverages. I did not know Jones Soda was in the THC beverage edition in Michigan. I just went to the Sticky Ipsy website, so I didn't really do too much research as much as Bill Webmaster Carney over there, who's doing great things over on our website. We appreciate Bill out there. But yeah, so there's plenty to go, but I feel like there will be a explosion. Like you're going to get your Taylor Swift weed when it gets federally legalized. But until it gets federally legalized, the T Sweezy strain of THC.
Don't do that.
The TH Sweezy.
You better keep that handy and make sure we sue when that happens.
Bill, give me trademark links. I need to register TH Sweezy.
Don't do that.
All right, I think I killed that topic.
Yeah,
Wendy, what do you want to talk about today?
So I found it is the time of year for lists. So I found the Detroit Free Press has put out a list of the top 12 Michigan craft beers of 2023. Now, I'm going to say that this list is specifically Brian Manzullo from the Free Press. That is his choices. So let's talk about them and see what we think. The first one is Paulding Mystery Light Lager. It's a 5.5% ABV lager, obviously, from Broadleaf. Has anybody tried that?
No, ma'am.
Nope. I don't know if
distribute.
If they do, it's Michigan only. It's the same owners as Vivant.
Oh, okay.
I can get it every now and then over by me. Not all the time. I grab it whenever I can see it because I don't want to drive all the way to Grand Rapids for it. But I like everything that Broadleaf does, so I can't see why I wouldn't drink that. The next one is the Mean Mallow Bean Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout from Drafting Table. It is a 14.2%. Obviously, it's a bourbon barrel aged stout. I love this one. I'm actually a Mug Club member of Drafting Table so that I can get it because I couldn't get it for a long time unless I went and sat in the brewery and drank it.
This is this is the Nintendo Switch beer referenced because this one can of beer, or it might have been a bottle at that time, was traded for a Nintendo Switch back in 2016 or 2017, I believe. Great conversation. Go check out one of our older episodes, the Drafting Table episode.
They opened,
not the first one, the day before they opened, but one of their more recent ones when they came into the studio. They actually brought one. But that was sadly the same weekend that we lost Rob's mother, and that was Rob's favorite beer. and they went above and beyond and made sure Rob got a bottle because he couldn't make it to the show that night. So yeah, drafting table. Yes. Aaron and Kristen over there are amazing people. And that's something that, for us in the industry, they would do. But I want to make sure to give them the proper props for doing something like that, especially for Rob, for what he was going through at that time.
But yeah, trading in a Nintendo Switch guy.
So the next...
But yeah, go ahead, so Wendy, sorry.
The next one is the Poppin' Tropic Fruited IPA from Battle Alley Brewing Company. I'm not going to lie, I don't even know about Battle Alley. Do we have that one?
Where's Battle Alley?
It is on the Michigan Brewery Map app. It is up in Holly, Michigan. I believe they have a full restaurant and kitchen there from when I went there. I did go before they opened for the day, dropping off an MBMA decal. But yeah, it is a nice little spot. It's one of those spots that when we talk about a brew pub or a brewery kind of holding the city together and being that one local spot, that's what Battle Alley is for sure for the people of Holly.
Awesome. I am putting that down on my list to go visit. The next one is a pumpkin cheesecake sour ale from Berserk Brewing Company. Anybody had that? A pumpkin cheesecake sour ale.
Is that considered a pumpkin beer, Dan? It's a cheesecake beer.
Pumpkin cheesecake sour? Get out of here.
I don't think they made a pumpkin beer better. Did they?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't like pumpkin beers, but I was very intrigued by this, and I was really bummed because I couldn't go to the Fall Beer Festival this year, and that was one of the ones that they had out there. That was actually the one that would have been on my list to go and try, just because it sounds interesting. So I'm very interested that it made it on this list as something that you need to try.
I would try it. My friend flies kites up there in Grand Haven every year, and he goes to this place and he goes to Oddside. Oddside?
Oh, Oddside's great.
Yeah, Oddside's over there.
Flies kites. We're going to have to talk about that later. I have friends that do that as well. So the next one is the Magenta West Coast IPA, which, did you guys get to try that?
I have not had the opportunity to grab a can yet from any of the people who have made it. I know that the City Built and Batch Brewing are the originators, but I'm pretty sure Loaded Dice made a batch. Three Gatos has made a batch. So,
yeah, there's been a few breweries I've noticed
have made it
that have followed it. So I love both Batch and City Built, so it doesn't surprise me that this would have made the list. I am really bummed. We had stuff going on, and I had it planned on being at the release party and couldn't make it, and I haven't been to Batch since to get any. So I'm hoping there's still some there that I can pick up. The next one is Boar's Gone Fishing Russian Imperial Stout. There's a 12.6 ABV from Loaded Dice Brewing. In collaboration with Heights Brewing Company founder Ryan Kavanaugh. Anybody got that one yet?
So if they had it when we were there, I had it for sure. If not, unfortunately, no.
So I think it came out after we were there.
Oh, bummer.
It was after.
Because I think I would have remembered that one. But again, Loaded Dice and Heights Brewing are very good beer, so I can't imagine that it's going to be bad. Like, I think that's a good choice. The next one's a Harvest Triple 2023 from Stormcloud Brewing. You know I'm all about that one.
Frankfurt. So, yeah, shout out to Frankfurt, Michigan.
I've never really had anything from Stormcloud that I didn't like, so I can't imagine that that's a bad choice.
I've been up there once. I had to work up there, and I drove up there at like 7 a.m. Fixed the problem in like 10 minutes, so I got there at like 11. And then had a beer and a way too big thing of popcorn, and then drove home.
I think one of those places that has a popcorn machine where you can just
it's not a popcorn machine. It's you get like a plated popcorn and they put like toppings on it, almost like nachos, but popcorn.
Oh, wow. That's kind of awesome.
It was like $5, and I'm like, oh, $5 for a thing. Oh yeah, they put like actual ingredients on there, like jalapenos and
okay,
like when I say nachos, I mean nachos, not like not anything less than that. So yeah, this is also the place where there was a rumor going on at the production facility about how do I want to say this without getting banned in any page? Harvesting adrenochrome.
I was gonna say, if you want to message me it and I'll say it.
Yeah, there was a woman who was so hell bent and believed that this big production facility that Stormcloud purchased and built up there was basically like a trafficking venue for adrenochrome and children.
Were they looking for the basement? Was this like a Breaking Bad?
Never met anybody from Stormcloud.
That kind of thing. All right.
Breaking Bad situation, like looking under the machine, the canning line.
I'm pretty sure this kind of came up when we had Jester King on, and we got the message from Jester King to not mention at that time about the lady that was talking about how Jester King was doing the exact same thing.
I remember that.
I'm like, I didn't even know that was happening, but what's going on? That's so they're like, they don't want to talk about it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it either, but I want to know about it.
No, we just want to know. Spill that tea. Anyways,
isn't there
Stormcloud is an amazing place. You should go there. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, so just going back to Jester King, didn't he tell us he has like a cellar or a basement there, like where he keeps the good beer? Maybe I'm misremembering this.
I don't remember. That was a lot of episodes.
A lot of episodes ago. That was a COVID episode. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Wendy.
We don't need to start a rumor.
Yeah.
So the next one is the Devil's Blood Black Lager from Royal Oak Brewery.
Oh, that sounds good.
This was, I believe, my winning beer from the Summer Beer Festival. If I recall correctly, I had this at the Summer Beer Festival 3 times. I kept going back. It was that good. And what sucked is that Royal Oak Brewery was the furthest brewery. So anytime I wanted it, I had to walk. Not the back 40, the back 400. That's where they were.
Yeah, that festival's big.
The last brewery in the last tent. And I still went. That
gotta
beer
work
was
for that
so
one.
Good.
Yeah, you got to work for that
multiple times. That is definitely a good beer. So I always say this one wrong, I'm sure, but I call it the Me Triple New England IPA. It's probably my. It's MI, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Spanish would
what
be
is it called? Is it Me?
That's the way you spell the note, like do re mi.
Yeah, but usually in Michigan, we always say
so that's
my
what I call it,
when it comes to pronouncing MI, like my beer box was MI beer box, or like those kinds. So I mean, I think you're both right and wrong.
Their untapped description
exactly.
Specifically says my though.
That makes
Danger,
sense.
if you listen to this, fix it for us and tell us what we need to do. But it is a triple New England IPA. I absolutely love this one, so I'm all about it. What about you guys?
Never mind. What about you, Rob?
I haven't had it.
I haven't had that. I've had other Old Nation, obviously, but not that one.
Ken's new love of IPAs. We might find him trying it in the future.
God. Get out of here. My new love.
I forgot about that. Ken's an IPA expert now.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
His new IPA status.
That again, what can I say? If you listen to the first episode of Better on Draft.
Again, Black Note Stout.
So what happened on the shit show of episode 1?
I said I hated barrel-aged beers.
Oh, that's true. You did. And I like Detroit hip hop. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Ken. Everybody's palate changes throughout their beer. What do we call it? The beer
journey.
Yeah.
Journey.
Sure.
Yeah. Throughout their beer journey. I hated IPAs, and look at me. I'm getting all IPAs on my flights now. So Black Note Stout from Bell's is on here. Did you guys, anybody have 2023 yet?
I have not.
I kind of do too. I post them as much as I can.
I haven't seen Black Note for a while, but I have definitely had that before, at least.
So I generally like Black Note. I haven't had it yet this year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
Aggregate
go out there.
West Coast IPA from Holmes. Go ahead, Ken. I think my internet's messing up.
Yeah, I think you're on a little delay, which is fine. I have not had the Black Note 2023 yet. I didn't go to a Centric Day or anything like that. I know I had a few friends over in the Michigan Craft Beer Discord went over there, but I had not. But the Holmes Brewery, their West Coast IPA, which isn't their typical New England or kettle sour. I'm curious on this one.
Right, that's what I thought. I'm like, the West Coast IPA is the one that they chose?
Well, I mean, it is one person that made this decision.
Right. I mean, I don't know. He's done a pretty good job so far as I'm concerned. But there is another drafting table beer on there, the Hibernation Station American Brown Ale. Have you had that one, Ken? I know I have. It's delicious.
I have not. It's been quite a little bit since I've had a drafting table beer that wasn't Pro Pills.
Oh, so I'm really disappointed that Drafting Table has 2 beers on here, and one of them is not Buzz Blanket, because that is the best beer that they make. It's so delicious. Maybe he didn't have that one.
Yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with a individual person that has to make a list like this, like how many times we made these craft beer lists for beer festivals, and oh, these were the best beers we tried. Well, what about this beer? I'm like, well, motherfucker, I didn't try the 1,000 beers that were there.
Just not possible.
Like even when we have a festival where like myself, Wendy, and Ed are going both days, and we're trying different things both days, like we still can't try every single beer or anything like that. So yeah, I think it is it's probably a good beer. It's an American brown ale, so I'll probably like it. But in the same token, like I don't think I can necessarily do too much about it other than you like it, you don't, you could try it. But the 12 best beers of 2023 of 400 breweries in Michigan,
you definitely didn't try them all.
You're gonna miss a few, and that's nothing against Brian here over at the Detroit Free Press. Nope. But it's just a thing. Wendy, how are you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. The delay is a lot less.
All right. I don't know what's going on. I've literally been back in my house for what we started at 7:15 since 6:45.
Oh, damn.
All right. Well, we're back to it as we continue. Rob, what do you want to talk about today?
Let's see. So the article that I have is about a new open carry law boost downtowns.
Open carry law. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Open carry alcohol.
I think he means open container.
Oh, okay.
No, this is what the headline says. Open carry alcohol.
Oh, I heard open carry. I'm like, hold on, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
There might need to be some hyphens in that somewhere. I'm not sure. But it's an article about. It's an article about in West Virginia they started a new outdoor drinking zone, and then just kind of how people have caught on to it, how it's working for the city, and then they go and talk about other places that have done similar. And so my experience with these is I first ran into one when I was in Grand Rapids over Labor Day, and they have, what do they call it, the social zone or something like that?
Social district.
Social district. Okay. So my experience with it was, I'm not going to name the brewery here. I went to a brewery and I got some beers with my friend, and we played some games while we were over there. And then we always get a growler to go to play games back at the hotel or, wherever. And so we got a growler to go, and they said, "You want some to-go cups?" And I said, "Well, yeah, let's go." And so they explained that they can pour beer in the to-go cup and we can drink it in the social district. Great. So my first question to them was, I have a growler full of beer. Can I pour beer into these cups in the social district? To which they said, I don't think so. But it turns out their cops did not rush out of the bushes and swarm my friend and I as we
rush out of the bushes. We got him. He filled his own glass in the open carry facility.
Yeah, exactly. So we sat in front of the presidential library there and had some nice beers in that park.
Hanging out with old Gerald Ford.
Exactly.
Some beer. I would have been like, no, I'm going to drink it straight from the growler. Thank you.
So the reason this is my first experience like this is because in Indiana, it's there. You can just have open containers. So we can pour beer into a cup out on the street and drink it straight there, right in front of a cup if we wanted. So it's just kind of, it was interesting to me that I ran into a place where you can't do that. And then they had a special place where you sort of could do that, but not the way I would want to. So I'm curious how people feel about these districts, how they're working and all that.
So I think they're great. Sorry, Ken, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it.
I think they're great. We have Las Vegas, we have New Orleans, where it's 24/7. You can do that. You are having these social districts pop up where you can do that. We have places here, like there's a place called Tempe Marketplace, which is shopping, restaurants. There's an area of that called the District, where the restaurants all are, and you can buy beer and have beer or liquor and walk around there. I don't see what's wrong with that, and I think it should be something that should open up more. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have straight up open container laws here in Arizona, because you can do whatever the hell else you want. It doesn't matter, but that's the one thing. You can conceal carry without a license too. That's constitutional. But we're not talking about that. I thought that's what we were going to.
Yeah,
I think it's a great thing.
Headline.
I hope you. Yeah, I feel like you'll see more cities doing it. At least I'm not going to get political, but I think you'll see more bigger cities doing it. And it's a great thing because there's nothing wrong with it. It's 2023. It's not the 1950s, or even they used to drink in the 1800s, doing whatever the hell they wanted. But I don't know what happened here after Prohibition, but it's a great thing. So what? Let people walk around, have a good time. If you need cops hiding in the bushes, like apparently they do in Grand Rapids looking for Rob, fine. But let it happen. There's a lot of great districts. You want to bring people in. It makes tax money. It makes businesses money. Just let it happen. There's no reason not to.
So for me, obviously, I'm a big proponent of it. It's great. There are places like the Foxtown district in Detroit, like Stadium District or whatever it's called now. Like that area needs to be open carry. Like when Dan and our friend Mike, we went to Bookies, I think, at one point to drink, and like the place was packed wall to wall. The outdoor patio, the patio upstairs, both floors. Like we found a table like last second, but it would have been easier for us to have just literally grabbed a to-go glass and just walk the streets because we wouldn't have cared.
Was that not a district? So
that is not a Detroit does not have any drinking districts.
Oh wow. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Even the little hall between the Fox and the State, which has like Fratito Beditas and a few other restaurants and stuff like that over there. Like that's not a walking district. That's not a drinking district. Like they have a patio and an alcohol line that you can't cross. Now, when it comes to Detroit, as long as you're not making a ruckus, nobody gives two shits. I've walked so many times from MGM to Ford Field with a big 24 of Labatt. And they don't care as long as you like. I've walked in front of the cops that are doing traffic on Woodward, and you nod your head, you say hello, and they just keep doing their job, and you just keep walking because you're not being a shithead. And that's also what do you call it, a tailgate day. So, I'm sure laws are a little bit more laxed, especially in the parking lots and stuff. They don't necessarily care, again, as long as you're not being a shithead. But in the city of Detroit, however, there is no drinking district. Whereas when big things are starting to happen in Detroit, like think about when the draft comes here in 4 months. Like the ability
NFL
to
draft, just to be
clear. The NFL draft. Yes, not World War III draft.
Even I knew that one.
Not World War III, the WCW pay-per-view, or
correct. Yes.
Okay.
60 man over the top battle royal. Like there's no drinking district, but with the amount of people that are coming into the city and that are going to be going to bars and bar hopping and want to go see this thing with this NFL person who's there signing autographs and want to go to the next bar and the next thing, like the city of Detroit better get their act together to be able to do that, because people are going to want to move from a Hockeytown Cafe and go over to Detroit Beer Company and then go over to, different bars and different restaurants throughout the area with the official, even if you make the drinking district just for the NFL draft, like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. People will come into town for the draft?
Draft is a huge thing.
Oh,
yeah.
We're
the
gonna
combine
have,
too.
No,
I don't
the
think we have
combine is
the
usually
combine.
in Indy.
Yeah, I
Don't
think
they always
it's
do
usually
the
in
same
Indy.
place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the NFL draft they're expecting to have more people than the Super Bowl 40 that was at Ford Field. Yeah, they're expecting a lot of people to be in town. They're expecting a lot of Detroit fans to be in town. A lot of out of town fans come into the town. When the draft was in Nashville last year or the year before, there was a huge complaint because the draft, which happens for 4 days or 3 days, over a weekend, like it's 4 days, I think, Thursday to Sunday.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah.
So the draft happens, but what's Nashville known for? Bachelorette parties. What fucked up all those bachelorette parties? The NFL draft and all of these people that came into Nashville. So expect Detroit, like,
sorry, that's funny.
When the fireworks come to Detroit every year, when I lived in Detroit, like I got out of the city. Like I am messing with all. Yeah, it's a shit show. I expect this to be an entire week worth of shit show.
So do you actually get to can buy tickets to watch the draft?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can go watch the draft, you can go tailgate, you can go party. If you go watch, like, go to YouTube right now and you go watch like videos from the NFL draft, and they draft like, oh, for the number 8 pick, it's Jahmyr Gibbs to the Detroit Lions, and then they literally pan to the Lions fan section and all the fans that are cheering for the pick or booing the pick or whatever is happening.
Do you have to buy a ticket based on what team you like? How do they have the fan section?
I don't know.
Questions I have now.
I'm not an official NFL draft knower, so I don't know everything that happens. But if I had to guess, you would be segregated to the team you want to go to, and you're not buying tickets to troll. Like, I'm not going to go buy tickets to wear a Detroit Lions jersey in the Chicago Bears area. Like, they'll probably just physically remove you. Be like, oh, sorry, you're in the wrong area.
Tried to start fights. So, okay. Ken, I'm glad you brought up Super Bowl 40, because you referenced when we were down there, that was the weekend. I believe, there was a Tigers game, and then SummerSlam. The only time I have seen more people downtown is during the fireworks. So it doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have a social district. It's still blowing my mind. But if you're going to have that level of people, you think even 10 years back, there were never that amount of people downtown, even during a Lions game. The city was packed. It was actually pretty incredible. They need to get their act together because you're right. If the draft is coming, people come from all over the country, if not the world, for this. It's a big deal. I know, Wendy, you've never heard of it before or understood how that works. It is a big deal. Like people, it's not like any of the other drafts. It's not like the NHL draft or like the NBA draft that only has 2 rounds. It brings people in like you wouldn't believe.
I mean, I paid attention to it on TV. I just never thought that people were actually going there to watch the draft.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind.
As a quote, Mayor Duggan said that they're expecting 400,000 people to come into the city for the NFL draft. So that's what's coming on downtown. Folks, we are live on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Kick, on X, and on Instagram. We got a lot of people chatting real quick, so I want to catch up on some stuff. Our boy Toots
is back. Yes, Toots.
Savannah and To-Go Cups is life. He also says,
nice.
White cowboy boots versus drunk Jets fans. And Ken, it's NFL fans segregation, Lions only, Bears only, etc. So I think we are in agreement. Jason Flanders on X is saying most small towns in South Central Michigan have this now. You still have to have the cup. So for these districts, usually there's like a sponsored cup that you have to have, like St. Clair Shores, like it's an official kind of like when you go to Vegas, like even in downtown Vegas, like you can't have open carry glass. You have to have a can or plastic.
Yeah.
And then there's
use the official cup in Grand Rapids.
The official cup, yes.
Yeah. Some places they'll have a sticker so they know where you got it from. But I've always been a fan of these just because if you're going bar hopping and you like order a beer and your friends are like, oh, hey, we're leaving. You're like, well, shit. Like, do you not drink it or do you chug it? Well, in my mind, I'm going to chug it. So now I don't have to chug it anymore. So that's what all this. Godzilla says still waiting for District Detroit to break ground, which I think is a joke on the investment the Illiches claim to make in the.
That's city, right. For the little
Detroit. Caesars. Yeah, for the Pizzarina. It has been a 2-hour show tonight between Craft Beer News and, of course, the Better on Draft podcast. We go live every Friday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. If you're listening via the podcast, you can go check out the videos on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching the videos, you can always subscribe to our podcast, Spotify, iTunes, leave a review, 5 stars saying Ken is the best, Ken is better on draft, Ken is great. I don't care.
Don't do that. Don't.
It's not all
leave us a 1-star review. Go for it.
Or leave a 5-star saying "fuck Ken, I like Dan," or "fuck Ken, I like Rob," or "fuck Ken, Wendy's the best." I don't care as long as it's 5 stars. Have a great holiday, a Merry Christmas. We will be back before the new year for one final episode to go over our resolutions. But that is going to do it for this episode. My name is Ken for Rob, Dan, and Wendy. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday night. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Have a good night.
Cheers.